Just 79 seconds. 20,047 classified Epstein files, worth $89 million in hush payments, had vanished from FBI servers while senior DOJ officials quietly managed the cover-up. But Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett refused to back down. She slammed encrypted hard drives onto the committee table, each thud echoing through the chamber as cameras captured every tense movement. The room fell silent, like a courtroom moments before a verdict. What did Crockett expose that shattered the coordinated denials of FBI? Director Patel and Attorney General Pam. Bondi before 44 million live viewers? This wasn't another routine oversight session. This was the moment when documented evidence collided with institutional secrecy, creating one of the most explosive revelations in American political history. Proof suggesting Jeffrey Epstein was alive and operating under federal protection. June 12, 2025, 2:19 p.m. Room 2037, Rayburn House Office Building. The air was thick with withheld truth, seconds away from eruption. Patel entered like an investigator who had mastered the art of selective honesty. His midnight blue suit radiated authority, and his FBI badge gleamed beneath the chamber lights, soon to reflect his downfall. At his side sat Attorney General Pam Bondi, her navy blazer and flag pin exuding confidence and loyalty to justice. But her poised smile concealed the anxiety of someone aware that her coordination with Patel was about to be exposed. Behind them followed 4 FBI legal counsels and 3 DOJ attorneys, a protective wall of officials armed with carefully crafted denials that would soon prove inadequate. Across the polished table sat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, her composure that of a prosecutor prepared to detonate the biggest scandal in modern federal law enforcement. Her eyes burned with concentration, and before her lay 7 encrypted drives marked with red classified stamps, each holding digital evidence powerful enough to destroy careers. C-SPAN's live feed carried every second to millions of Americans sensing they were witnessing a historic reckoning, perhaps the most significant moment of accountability since Watergate. At precisely 2:19 p.m., Chairman Jerry Nadler called the session to order. The committee will now receive testimony regarding FBI document retention and investigation protocols related to high-profile federal cases, he said. Everyone in the room knew the true subject, Jeffrey Epstein, and the officials who had shielded his network for decades. Director Patel began his prepared remarks, his tone steady with bureaucratic confidence that would not last. Congresswoman Crockett, I appreciate the chance to address these unfounded conspiracy narratives. The FBI, under my direction, has upheld the highest standards of investigative integrity and evidence management. Bondi nodded beside him, projecting a united front of federal transparency. Crockett listened, fingers drumming silently on the encrypted drives that contained proof of his deception. Director Patel, she began, her tone deliberate and precise. You've spoken of thorough professional oversight in every case. Let's test that claim using documented evidence rather than rehearsed statements. She connected the first encrypted drive to her laptop. Do you recall the federal investigation into Jeffrey Epstein conducted under your leadership? Patel's jaw tightened. Bondi's confident smile wavered. Congresswoman, that case concluded following Mr. Epstein's death in federal custody. The FBI conducted a complete investigation within all required parameters. Complete investigation? Crockett repeated sharply. Director, let me demonstrate what thoroughness looks like when it isn't deliberately obstructed. Her screen displayed an internal FBI memo dated August 15, 2019, 5 days after Epstein's reported suicide. This directive, she said, ordered the immediate suspension of all investigations related to Epstein's network of co-conspirators. It bears your signature, Director Patel. The chamber erupted into stunned silence. For the first time, documented proof showed the FBI director had personally halted the nation's most critical trafficking probe. Patel responded cautiously. Personnel and investigative decisions involve complex considerations not easily understood outside their proper context. Complex considerations? Crockett echoed. Allow me to clarify that context. She activated another drive, projecting financial documents that made reporters type furiously. These are banking records obtained by congressional subpoena. They show wire transfers totaling $12.7 million from Epstein-linked accounts to two consulting firms, Secure Justice, LLC, registered to your brother-in-law, and Legal Defense Strategies, Inc., owned by Attorney General Bondi's former partner. Both were created within 48 hours of your confirmations. The evidence was crushing. $12.7 million had flowed from Epstein's network to both officials' families just before they gained authority to shut down the investigations. Patel's face went pale. Congresswoman, any financial connections involving relatives are properly disclosed through ethics channels. I have no knowledge of the transactions in question. No knowledge? Crockett repeated coldly. Let me refresh your memory. She opened another drive. This is an audio recording from September 3rd. Listen carefully. The chamber went still. Patel's voice played clearly through the speakers, discussing payment schedules and the timeline for terminating Epstein-related inquiries. Bondi's voice joined in, coordinating DOJ prosecution decisions. The recording lasted 7 minutes and 43 seconds. Both officials explicitly discussed shutting down Epstein investigations in exchange for consulting payments. Director Patel, Attorney General Bondi, Crockett said as the recording ended. Those are your voices arranging payments to obstruct an ongoing investigation. Do you still claim no knowledge of these transactions? The evidence was irrefutable. Their own voices confirmed coordinated efforts to stop federal inquiries into Epstein's network. But the audio, Crockett continued, is only the beginning. She connected another drive displaying a massive recovered directory, because we also have the files you tried to erase. The screen revealed thousands of deleted FBI documents recovered through forensic analysis. This recovery shows that on August 20th, 2019, your office authorized the deletion of 247 classified files related to the Epstein case, records implicating government officials, corporate executives, and foreign dignitaries connected to Jeffrey Epstein's trafficking network. The systematic destruction of evidence confirmed an institutional cover-up at the highest levels of government. Congresswoman Patel attempted to defend the actions, claiming that file management decisions involve technical considerations. Technical considerations? Crockett interjected sharply. Director, let me show you what your technical considerations actually protected. She displayed a recovered document that drew a collective gasp from the chamber. This, she said, is the deleted client list. It contains 89 names of individuals who participated in Jeffrey Epstein's trafficking network. The list includes 3 sitting U.S. senators, 2 Supreme Court justices, 1 former president, and 17 federal judges. Her tone was calm but cutting. You deleted evidence that could have led to prosecutions of nearly 100 individuals involved in child trafficking. The client list was the political equivalent of a nuclear weapon, proof implicating powerful figures across all 3 branches of government in Epstein's criminal enterprise. Social media ignited instantly. Hashtags like Epstein client list, Patel cover-up, and Justice for Victims dominated every platform as millions grasped the scale of the conspiracy. But perhaps the most damaging, Crockett continued, opening yet another drive, is the evidence of ongoing operations. She projected financial records showing continued payments from Epstein-linked accounts months after his reported death. Director, she said, these banking documents show $43 million in transactions from Epstein accounts extending through March. How do you explain financial activity from a man officially declared dead? The records proved that Epstein's financial network remained active long after his supposed death. These payments coincided with Patel's termination of 67 FBI agents who had been investigating Epstein-related cases, agents who had identified active trafficking operations. You dismissed the investigators and protected the perpetrators, Crockett charged, her voice rising. Director Patel, You didn't just cover up past crimes, you enabled new ones. How many children were harmed because you chose to protect Jeffrey Epstein's clients instead of his victims? Patel abruptly stood, his composure cracking. Congresswoman, these allegations are based on selective interpretations of complex evidence taken out of context. Federal prosecutors? Crockett cut him off, connecting another drive. Let's talk about which prosecutors you consulted. The screen filled with email exchanges that silenced the room. The messages were between Patel and Bondi, discussing explicit client protection strategies. These communications, Crockett said evenly, show you personally coordinating the Epstein cover-up. She read aloud from one. Bondi, Aug 17. Client list protection is priority 1. Political survival depends on complete burial. Patel's reply, FBI investigation termination approved. Files scheduled for deletion. The two officials sat frozen as their own words confirmed their intent. But the most explosive evidence, Crockett continued, comes from Jeffrey Epstein himself. She opened a video file that made the entire chamber gasp. The screen displayed Jeffrey Epstein, alive, speaking in what appeared to be a recent video call. He discussed ongoing operations and client protection with two familiar voices off-camera, Patel and Bondi. Director Patel. Attorney General Bondi, Crockett said steadily. This video was recorded on April 15, 2025, nearly 6 years after Jeffrey Epstein's supposed death. In it, he details current client management, trafficking operations, and payments made directly to both of you for continued protection. How do you explain this video proof showing Epstein alive and operating under your joint federal protection? 79. Seconds after Crockett's first reference to the classified files, both officials were visibly in panic. The video was the final blow. It destroyed every remaining official narrative. Epstein wasn't dead. He was alive, active, and operating under coordinated federal protection. The chamber erupted into chaos as reporters realized they were witnessing the most devastating government scandal in American history. Director Patel, Attorney General Bondi. Crockett's voice rose above the noise. Your coordinated cover-up didn't just protect criminals, it made the federal government complicit in their crimes. She lifted a photograph that instantly silenced the room. It showed Patel and Bondi meeting personally with Jeffrey Epstein at a secure federal facility in January. You were overseeing his protection while publicly claiming he was dead. You turned federal law enforcement into a criminal enterprise. The image was the final irrefutable piece. Visual confirmation that the FBI director and attorney general had personally met with the country's most notorious criminal while denying his existence. Both Patel and Bondi gathered their materials. With trembling hands, their careers destroyed, criminal exposure undeniable. As they moved toward the exit, Crockett delivered her closing statement. Director Patel, Attorney General Bondi, your resignations are meaningless. You will face criminal charges for conspiracy to obstruct justice, destruction of federal body, evidence, and participation in protecting an active trafficking network. The evidence is overwhelming, and the American public now knows the truth about your coordinated protection of Jeffrey Epstein's criminal empire. As both officials fled the hearing room, they left behind not only ruined careers, but also the collapse of public trust in federal law enforcement. The evidence presented by Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett had done more than expose two corrupt officials. It had revealed a systematic alliance between the FBI and DOJ to shield one of the world's most dangerous criminal networks. That evening, as America absorbed the scale of the revelations, Epstein's victims finally had hope for justice. The cover-up was broken, the evidence was public, and the officials who had shielded the abusers were finally facing accountability. The 79 seconds that destroyed Kash Patel and Pam Bondi's careers marked the beginning of the largest criminal investigation in U.S. history, an inquiry that would finally seek justice for Jeffrey Epstein's victims.